The Golden State Warriors are a major problem. As you all know, the Warriors are currently on a 2-game win streak and continue to roll over the NBA. And in today's video, we're going to be going through the 5 reasons why the Golden State Warriors have gotten off to such a hot start, and how this is going to help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. The first is that Steph Curry is playing at an all-time MVP type level. Now, as you all know, Stephen Curry has had himself a first couple of great games due to the fact that he has been scoring very well both on the three-point line and also inside the paint. Now, when we look at his averages, he's actually averaging right now 34 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. So he's been doing a fantastic job over the last couple of games. Now, in the most recent game against the Houston Rockets, he did drop 24 points and also dropped Dillon Brooks to the floor so many times during that matchup, but that's for a different topic. But when it comes to the way he has been playing, he's been playing great as of recent, and what's great about it is also the effectiveness and field goal percentages he has been shooting. If we look at one of the most recent games against the Sacramento Kings where they did get the W, he was able to drop 41 points, but guys, had a field goal percentage of 74%. Yes, guys, you heard that right, 74%, and had a 3-point percentage of 70% as well. That is honestly insane, and I have never seen a game like that, especially when we're focusing on that Sacramento game. But when it comes to the other games that he has played so far this season, he has been doing a very good job at shooting at a very highly efficient rate, and because of that, we think it will definitely translate on into the future. Now, one of the reasons why I think this works very well is due to the fact that with Chris Paul now in the lineup, it really does ease up a lot of the attention that someone like Stephen Curry gets, which means he gets a lot of great looks at the basket. And because of that, I think Steph has been taking advantage of it, shooting at a very well percentage. But on top of that, if we look at his assist and rebound numbers, yes, they have dropped from last season where he was averaging around 6 rebounds and 6 assists last season, but I do believe this is for the better because now it has Stephen Curry focus on what he does best, which is score at will. And because of that, he has not only just shooting very well, but also on the 3-point line, he's been shooting the best he has ever shot, 45% from the 3 so far this season, and an effective field goal percentage of 57%. So we could definitely see this continue on for someone like Steph Curry, and I definitely think he has the capability of definitely going for that scoring title this season. The second is that Jonathan Kuminga is living up to the absolute hype. Now, when it comes to Jonathan Kuminga, this was a make or break season for him due to the fact that Kuminga was very close at being traded during the offseason, but they decided to give him one more shot during this season before the actual trade deadline. So this is an opportunity for Kuminga to show out, and he has definitely done that. So far this season, he's averaging 12 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 0.5 assists, which I think is great to see. But on top of this, overall, he just has been a very good player on offense and also on defense. It may not show up in the stats, but when it comes to his defensive ability and what he has been doing out there when it's affecting the game, you definitely see he's giving a lot on defense and especially on offense as well. His field goal percentage has been looking good, averaging around a 50% field goal percentage, which is great to see, and on top of that, a 3-point percentage of 33%. But where I think Jonathan Kuminga has definitely shined is definitely helping lead that second unit, especially since Chris Paul has been in the starting lineup for some time now. Now, CP3 did come off the bench in the most recent game against the Houston Rockets, but I do believe when it comes to CP3, Jonathan Kuminga is definitely really shining a lot more with CP3 by his side, and I do believe that will continue on throughout the season. Yes, he is only averaging around 12 points right now, but we can definitely see those numbers even skyrocket even more if they decide to have CP3 continue to come off the bench. So although there are a couple of things that Jonathan Kuminga can definitely work on, I do believe he has shown time and time again what he's capable of and why he deserves to be a part of this team. We aren't expecting him to drop 25-30 points per game, but we do expect him to really have an impact out there since he is going to be one of those main guys, especially off the bench, and he has definitely shown that time and time again. Yes, he may not be averaging 25-30 points, he may not be grabbing 5 boards or 10 boards or anything like that, but where you definitely see Jonathan Kuminga be a huge asset is due to his defensive ability, being able to contest shots and also guard pretty much 1 through 5 pretty easily, and because of that, it's definitely helped all the other players and especially that second unit. The third is that Chris Paul has fit perfectly to the Golden State Warriors. Now, I absolutely love what Chris Paul has been doing over the last couple of days, but where I really do see Chris Paul doing such a great job is due to the fact that he's very fluid on where his role is. In the most recent game against the Houston Rockets, he actually did come off the bench and he seemed pretty happy about it. He said he's going to do whatever it takes to win, and because of that, CP3 was coming off the bench, which is what I like to see. see. I love how he's willing to sacrifice something so small as being a starter, but still getting the good amount of minutes, but also on top of that, being the player that he always is and leading this team. So I honestly do think he has done a fantastic job, and in the most recent game against the Rockets, he did have a great stat line of 8 points, 7 assists, and also 5 rebounds. So he was doing everything out there for Golden State Warriors, which I love to see. Now, when it comes to his overall season stats so far across 3 games, he's averaging 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 10.5 assists, while also shooting an effective field goal percentage of 34%, which I think is great. But on top of that, where I do want to see Chris Paul definitely do a lot more is definitely on that 3-point line. CP3 has definitely developed a great 3-point shot over the last couple of seasons, especially with the Phoenix Suns, and we definitely need to see that from CP3 coming into this Warriors lineup. Now, he has taken quite a backseat when it comes to his attempts on the 3-point line, as he hasn't shot too well in the first 2 games, going 0 from 6 and 0 from 2 against Sacramento. But I still have faith in Chris Paul. I think he needs to continue to shoot that, continue to get better as he can, because I do believe he definitely has that shot in him if given the right opportunity. But when it comes to his stats, it's definitely starting to show. Even in the first 2 games where he had 9 assists the first game and 12 assists in the second, it does show that CP3 has definitely fit very well into this team, but also knows how to structure the offense very well to get them that win. And I think that definitely does show what CP3 is capable of doing, even with alongside players like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, who are technically the stars of this team, but CP3 has been able to come in and be a star of his own. The fourth is that Klay Thompson is playing at 100% again. Now, as you all know, Klay Thompson has come back over the last 2 seasons from 2 season-ending injuries, and this season a lot of players and also NBA staff do believe that Klay Thompson is now back and giving 100%, and we definitely have seen that from him so far. Now, when it comes to Klay Thompson, he is actually averaging 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, which is fantastic to see. And obviously with this comes his efficiency, and he has been shooting very efficient as well. If you look at the most recent game against Houston Rockets, he did actually have 19 points, which is great, and also the game against Sacramento, where he actually shot 58% from the field goal and also 50% from the 3. We actually see quite a few more 3s from Klay Thompson at times, but he's still shooting it at a very highly efficient rate, and that's what we want most out of Klay Thompson. There are a lot more scorers in this team, with Andrew Wiggins joining, Kevon Looney, Draymond Green, all these other additions who now can score at will, and because of that, I do believe Klay Thompson's scoring has dropped a bit, but as long as he's doing it at an efficient rate, I think that's what the Warriors want the most, and what Warriors fans want the most as well. And we definitely have seen that so far from him. Now, he may not be the same defensive juggernaut that he was once before, but he is still very much capable of defending some of the great players in other teams, whether it was in Sacramento, Suns, or even in the Houston Rockets. And that's all we could really ask from someone like Klay. 2 season-ending injuries is definitely a lot to handle, and the fact that he is able to come back and show that he is still able to score, still able to defend, has honestly been fantastic for this team. So hopefully it does continue on into this next game, but I do believe Klay Thompson is playing a lot more fluid, and also though his athleticism is slowly getting back to where he was before. The fifth is that Kevon Looney has been playing fantastic, and it has been going very underrated. Now, as you all know, Kevon Looney has been such a huge asset for the Golden State Warriors, and he is a 3-time NBA champ for a reason. But when it comes to Kevon Looney, what he has done a fantastic job of is definitely due to the fact that he isn't too much of a scorer. He's been able to do it on the rebounding side of things, being a defensive juggernaut inside the paint, and also in the playmaking side of things as well. Now, if we look at his stats so far this season, he's averaging 7.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, and he's had some big rebounding games, which I love to see. But on top of that, he's also been very consistent. He's actually been getting, if we look at the first game, 11 rebounds first game, 12 rebounds the second, and third game against the Houston Rockets, he was able to get 11 rebounds again. So because of that, we definitely see Kevon Looney as such a huge asset, and we think it will continue on into this next game. However, on top of this, I really do feel that the stats don't show enough on what Kevon Looney does out there. He does so many great intangible things. He's been able to contest so many shots in the paint, really get shots missing in the paint as well, and because of that, it doesn't show up on the stats, but I do believe that's what Kevon Looney does best. His help defense is definitely second to none, and he's great at rotations, even if he is rotated onto a guard. He's great at defending the pick and roll at times, especially if someone like Steph Curry or Chris Paul get caught in a pick and roll, and because of that, I think Kevon Looney is definitely one of the most underrated players that is definitely going to help this team win another NBA championship. And I think Kevon Looney, yes, he may not be the biggest scorer, but I do believe he he doesn't really need to be that scorer that the Warriors need. But I do believe he needs to attract quite enough attention on the offensive side of things to be an absolute threat, and he can definitely do that just by, rim running and also being under the ring for a nice second chance bucket, or even finishing off a nice handoff. So because of that, I think Kevon Looney can definitely still get those point numbers up. Even if he was just averaging 10 to 12 points, I think that would make a huge difference for what the Warriors are, and also have a lot of defenses struggling on who to guard. We all know Steph can score, we all know Klay can score, also Wiggins and Chris Paul, but if you have someone like Kevon Looney who can at least give you 10 points per game, it is going to cause a lot of teams problems on the defensive end, and I think that's what's most important.